Have you ever stepped into an elevator and people quit talking? Have you ever walked into a party and there was a group that wouldn't talk to you? I remember working at Safeway many years ago, and I was invited to the graduation party of one of my coworkers. He was Nigerian, and I went with a friend of mine. We walked into the room. There were 75 African Americans in that room, and when we walked in, the room literally went silent. The music literally stopped. Every eye in that room was staring at us because we were white. We were the minority. And as soon as my friend who had invited us walked up to us, that everybody knew it was okay, and then we went on. That was an important, informative experience for me because I think of that whenever I try to think of somebody who is working or coming from a minority, because I quickly felt the discomfort. You know, people were asking for statistics. I'm glad you did that because I have some from the FBI. I hope that's a credible source. There were, in 2008, which is the last statistics that were available, over 7,700 hate crimes. Excuse me. That was reported crimes involving 9,168 offenses. And of those hate crimes, 16.7% stem from sexual orientation. So it is a quantifiable need to protect members of our society, which is one of the primary functions of government, the health and safety of the members of the society. Some people said, why are we singling out the gays? Why are we elevating the gays? We shouldn't elevate anybody. Why weren't you here for Black History Month or Native American Month or Hispanic Month to protest the fact that we were doing something to highlight those people? It's disingenuous to say that this isn't about gays being a part of this society and we love and respect them. You know, some of the vitriol that I heard on the phone and was emailed to me about the disease-ridden homosexuals and how they're going to destroy our community, which could have come right off of a Sally Kern tape, those people were honest about their feelings, and I respect their honesty. What I have a hard time with is somebody that pretends to be open-minded and is not. Because when we have an Astronomy Day proclamation, which we've had, we're not forcing you to go out and look up at the stars. Now, one of the speakers said that according to the Supreme Court, one of the definitions was no political clout. Well, if you have to have a 3-hour discussion just to have a proclamation, that to me really shows no political clout. My family came from Hungary at the end of World War II and left because the Soviets were invading. And they voted with their feet to leave their country and to leave their loved ones because of the kind of society that was being forced upon them through communism. Wasn't any better than when the Nazis invaded a few weeks earlier. Nonetheless, they came to America and instilled in me a great love for this country and a great respect for paying attention to what government does and how it can affect you. And several people here, although they are from the majority, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, majority of the country, they felt like they were being discriminated against. Well, if you feel like you're being discriminated against in the majority, imagine what it feels like in the minority. And imagine that the worst fears happen and the minority takes over the country. Shouldn't your rights in the minority be protected? Shouldn't your rights to worship freely be protected? They should, and they are, because we have a republic. There was a minister in Germany, Martin Niemöller, and I'm going to quote a poem that he wrote. In Germany, they first came for the communists, and I did not speak up because I was not a communist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak up because I was not a Jew. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak up because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Catholics, and I did not speak up because I was a Protestant. Then they came for me, and by that time, no one was left to speak up. And the reason why that's important today is because we have to protect everybody's rights as if they were our own, because they are. That is the legacy that my parents left me. Everybody's rights are connected. If you single out one segment of society and decide that it's okay to discriminate against them and treat them any different, then you put yourselves at risk. You put your family at risk. I appreciate the great deliberations that my colleagues have had over this. Some of them, and here tonight, have been threatened with their seats just for voting for a simple proclamation. And of course, you're always free to do what you want to at the ballot box. But these are good people trying to do what they think is best for the community. And although some people have stepped forward and thanked them for their service, they turn right around and threaten them too. And it's a lot harder for some of them. This isn't their big issue. This isn't something that they chose. It was something brought forward by the Human Rights Commission to try to address a wrong. But they're taking it on anyway. And I have the utmost respect for them no matter how they vote. And I want them to know that. As for me, this is personal. Just look at the website. I have sat for the last 48 hours and listened to people describe homosexuals in a variety of debasing and degrading ways and then claim that they don't have any problem with them. Yet clearly they do. One gentleman said, I know gay people, but it's just better if they stay in the closet. Well, you can't be a productive member of society if you're lying to society about who you are. And I ask you to look in your hearts and ask yourself, would you rather somebody be a productive member of a society and be encouraged to do the right thing, or do you want to pretend that they don't exist?